I believe that art transcends spaces. It transcends borders, it transcends languages. And as a result, it assists us to be able to connect with each other.
I think that one of the great powers of art is its ability to access something beyond our mind, reach into our heart, and make us feel something. And when we want to see change in the world, when we're able to make something personal, I think that's maybe the first step towards activating people to different behaviors, to actually being part of change.
So Artivism profiles 6 artists and art collectives from around the world, and it's about how they create art as a response to human rights violations and a way to prevent them from ever happening again. The Witness Blanket is a collection, about 800 pieces gathered from the sites of Indian residential schools, some government buildings, some churches, and donated by survivors and their families, that when woven together in this beautiful piece of art, tell us the story of Indian residential schools and ensure that we think about how we are going to make sure this never happens again. Presented alongside each other, these exhibitions are testaments, really, to the power of art to help people survive and to resist, to build hope, and to take action for human rights.
So Artivism was created by an organization called the Auschwitz Institute for the Prevention of Genocide and Mass Atrocities. So this particular exhibition was developed and premiered at the 2019 Venice Biennale. And its presentation at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights is its North American debut.
I strongly believe that everybody can participate in the effort of making sure that the dark history of, let's say, my country or other countries, just the dark histories of the world will not repeat themselves. I really strongly believe that everybody can participate in that in their own way. As an artist, I feel this is my responsibility.
Art for me is a space to create conversations, and for me to have a conversation, and for me to create space for other people to have a conversation. Art has a way of confronting the past without reliving it, bringing people in who perhaps normally would just like close their eyes or shut out their ears.
Art knows no language. Art doesn't speak to you through words, but through experience. And when you look at a piece of art, you can feel what that artist was feeling. You can see through their eyes instead of just reading words, but you experience it. It's really hard to walk away and not feel something. And I think if you feel something, then you can act on it.
What's great about the museum is its ability to educate and transform the way Canadians and young Canadians think about the importance of human rights historically, but also, the role of evolving our perception of human rights moving forward. And I think doing that through art is just such a creative way that will hopefully inspire people that otherwise maybe wouldn't be engaging with this sort of subject matter. And I think that's why it's such a powerful exhibition.
So the Truth and Reconciliation Commission went across Canada to listen to the survivor stories. So we were called Survivors of Residential Schools. What happens is you have to share your story of what you went through in residential school. It was traumatizing for me to go through that. The whole time that you're there, you feel like you're making it up. because everything that we learned in residential school about who we were or how we were rejected, like you're lazy, you're a liar, you're a thief, you're a drunk, you're all these things, there's still, those beliefs are still very prominent in some of the people, in some of the communities. When I'm creating artwork, I don't have that doubt. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, I really believe that the work becomes, in the process, the work becomes what it needs to become. It tells the story that needs to be told.
For me, the witness blanket has always been about telling truth, about recording truth. So first and foremost, what I hope people get when they come to see it is a sense of that truth, the collective truth that is held by all of those pieces and all of the stories. That if it's settler folks who are not familiar with the history that we have in Canada of residential schools, of colonialism, that it becomes an illustration and marks a point where they shift from not knowing to knowing. And when it comes to Indigenous people who have invariably been affected by these things, I hope that they see that care, that love, that these things are interconnected. The schools, the reserve systems, the displacement, these have all been part of intentional removal of Indigenous presence. Lastly, I hope for survivors, residential school survivors and intergenerational survivors who might see the blanket, that they feel heard. I know that's a lot to ask from a work of art, but I've seen through the ways that different people have brought projects to me through things like the agreement that we've made with the Museum for Human Rights, that it can happen.
Part of preserving the artwork is working with Carey and his team to think about how we can honor the spirit of each material and story on the artwork. The stewardship agreement guides us, and really it's quite incredible how much interaction and collaboration there is between teams of people to make decisions about how to best honor each voice and community represented within the artwork. And I hope that as you look at the examples we provided and as you look panel to panel and piece to piece, you really have the opportunity to get up close, think about the details of materials and what that story is they're trying to convey. This is evidence, this is a conversation piece, this is a piece for learning.
Projects like this are so important to community because when we think about truth and reconciliation, this particular piece really is the first part of that, which is truth. And although there isn't a written roadmap on truth or reconciliation, those steps are in that sequence. What you witness here is the truth aspect and that experience that happened in the past to Indigenous people. And it is so important for us as a country that we continue this dialogue, and in order to move into reconciliation, to go through the truth.
When I think about the relationship that we have with the witness blanket as a museum, I really think about it as a relationship. So we don't own those pieces. We have a shared agreement and we have a shared responsibility to care for those stories. That's a different way of looking at history. It's a different way of thinking about how we're going to work towards decolonization and reconciliation, because it's in partnership. And I think that's what the relationship was always intended to be. It's just taken us a while to figure out that that's how we're actually going to get to the place we talk about going to. Art is a beautiful medium to tell human rights stories, because art has this unique ability to evoke emotion in us as humans. And when that emotion is sparked in us, it makes us think, it makes our brain then start to work and think about what are we going to do to digest that emotion? What are we going to do with this feeling that we're left in? And I think that's what sparks inspiration.